Daily Bagscape Podcast, February 2nd. Let's talk some college hockey. We're going to talk about Beanpot, and we're going to talk about the shit shows going on out in the Big Ten. Whatever the hell's happening out in the desert with Arizona State, starting their program up. And we're going to talk about an off the ice issue, and I think we're going to lead off with that. So, many of you may know, the University of North Dakota dropped their once mascot / logo of the Fighting Sioux Indians. This was due to the university being pressed with lawsuits from the Sioux Indian tribe. The NCAA got involved. It got pretty fucking ugly real quick. So, school dropped the logo. They had to change their apparel, their logo they put on all their equipment and uniforms. It sucked. They had to go from a pretty dope logo. It was sort of like a mix of a Chicago Blackhawk logo, but it wasn't quite like that. And they had to go to pretty much the Notre Dame Fighting Irish logo, just the N and the D. So, the last couple of years, the school hasn't had a mascot. They've just been North Dakota. That is until Monday. The school announced a plan to launch a new logo / mascot, the North Dakota Fighting Hawks. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm a really big fan of keeping things simple. I'm not the biggest University of Syracuse fan, but one thing I'll respect from them is that when they were pressed by the NCAA and whatever Indian tribe they pissed off to change their logo from the Orangemen, they did a good job. They went from the Syracuse Orangemen to the Syracuse Orange. They kept it to the point where they still held a portion of what they once had with their logo, but they changed it to the point where they weren't going to piss anybody off. And that's what I think North Dakota should have done. They should have kept their logo simple to the point where it still had some meaning to what it once was, but don't totally fuck the thing up and name yourself the friggin' Hawks. There's already enough of those in collegiate sports. I think North Dakota should have just stuck with what they once had and call themselves the North Dakota Fighting. That'd be a pretty boss name. No other team in collegiate sports or pro sports or any sports for that matter is called the Fighting. I think the Fighting would be something cool. You get a friggin' logo with a guy with a spear. Doesn't make sure he's not like a Native American or Indian looking guy, so you don't piss off the Sioux Indians. I think that would have been the way to go. But instead, they went with the friggin' Hawks. In today's collegiate sports, you have a lot of teams like the Harvard Crimson. What else do we got? The Stanford Cardinal. All these teams that are named after either colors or trees. I don't even know what the fuck. Look at that motherfucker. I don't even know what the hell he is. That's one ugly ass motherfucking logo. Anyway, so I think North Dakota should have stuck to a simple plan and just gone with the North Dakota Fighting. That's my personal opinion. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments section. Text me, tweet me, whatever the hell you want to do. Moving on. Let's talk about the Beanpot kid, Jack Pack and the BU Terriers. So on Monday night, BC and Harvard kicked off the annual Beanpot tournament at TD Garden. BC took down Harvard 3-2. BU prevailed 3-1 over Northeastern. Let's start with the BC game. Number 6 BC, number 5 Harvard. This should have been the 8 o'clock game. It was clearly the two better teams in the tournament facing off in the only round, which is sort of disappointing for Harvard because this is probably the best team they've had in a really, really, really long time, and they still couldn't get out of the first round of the fucking Beanpot. It's just classic Harvard. I was at the game. There was probably like a total of 1,000 Harvard fans there. They were outnumbered by about 10,000 BC fans. No, not 10,000. Probably 8,000 BC fans. And 1,000 Harvard fans. It was a BC jumped down the board early. Fitzgerald, he got the first goal, and then Teddy Donato's son, came down and scored on a breakaway, knocked the game at 1. Harvard takes a 2-1 lead off a freaky carom in front of the net where the goalie was Thatcher Demko, did not have a stick, and BC retakes the lead off of a series of goals, one from Colin White. And I believe the third one was from Miles Wood, but I could be wrong on that one. Anyway, BC takes the lead. You knew once BC took the lead that they were going to at least put the game on ice. They were going to put the puck deep in Harvard's end, which is what they did. Classic Jerry York style hockey. Controlled control the tempo of the game by controlling the puck. You control the puck, the other team. It's simple shit. The other team can't score. We all know that. BC does it better than anybody else. They can control the puck. They know what to do with it. They put the puck on the other end. They cycle it around. They can create scoring chances. And it was something that Harvard simply couldn't do. BC was clearly the better team, even though the scoreboard only showed 3-2. That's just my personal opinion. Second game, that was a disappointment, man. I thought Northeastern was going to come in firing. They came in winners 12 out of the last 13. BU, they've been struggling lately, but they're still finding themselves ranked in the top 15. Daniel Regan gets the Terriers on the board first, 1-0. I think it was 9:28 into the first period. BU takes a 2-0 lead off of a absolute friggin' snipe by, what the fuck is this guy's name? Jakob Forsbacka Karlsson. It's almost like this guy has a fake birth certificate and he decided to name himself after every famous Swedish hockey player. Peter Forsberg. Backa, Nicholas Backstrom. Karlsson. Anyway, that's fucking weird. I've never seen a name like that. Jakob Forsbacka Karlsson. What the fuck name is Motherfucker, what the hell kind of name is that? Anyway, I'm not going to show him the guy for his name. It's a pretty dope name if you ask me, though. Anyway, so BU takes a 2-0 lead, and then with 3 minutes left, Northeastern is able to bang home a rebound after being thoroughly outplayed the whole night, 2-1. And then BU scores an empty netter. It was just a bad game. It was a terrible game to watch. I was there till like 11 at night. A couple of my buddies sitting in a luxury box with a bunch of BU fans, and obviously, me being me, I had to chirp some BU fans of their team throwing the national championship game in the Boston Garden the year before. Sorry, BU fans, but my personal opinion is you threw the national championship. Why the fuck did your goalie throw a puck in his own net in 3 consecutive fucking games? In the regional final against Minnesota Duluth, in the semifinals against North Dakota, and the finals against Providence College. That's just my personal opinion. I'll let other people decide. I'll let other people decide what they think. So it's BC and BU next Monday night. Last time these teams faced off, it was a 2-2 tie. The time before that, it was a 5-3 Boston College win. That kid Cangelosi for BC, he had himself a fucking game that night. I was at that game. He had 2 assists and a goal on a penalty shot. Kid's clearly the fucking bee's knees. Him, Miles Wood, Colin White, Scott Savage, they have a freaking solid squad over there. Don't take BU lightly, though. I think BU is going to give them a game, but BC's a dynasty right now. They're gonna come out of this as the champs. I'm going to say BC 4, BU 2 in the Beanpot final. Let's move on to the Big Ten. So right now, we're looking at an absolute fucking mess in the Big Ten. So as many of you may know, the Big Ten decided to go to its own to have its own hockey conference a couple seasons ago, with Penn State going into D1. So right now it's Minnesota at 13-9-3 is the first place team in the Big Ten, and you got Michigan at 24-2, and you have, oh my God, Wisconsin, Michigan State. Penn State's 15-7-3, and you got Michigan State, Ohio State, and Wisconsin are absolute fucking dog shit this year. So what you're telling me is that one of these 6 teams is going to get in. I mean, Michigan's probably the cream of the crop. Somehow, some way, they have less losses than Minnesota in their conference play, so that's why Minnesota is number 1 in the Big Ten right now. But the fact that one of these teams is going to go to the NCAA tournament is a joke. As far as money making goes, you're not going to get much more money making than the Big Ten does for hockey. 6 big schools, 6 big fan bases, 6 big areas of the country. Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Ohio. They're just a solid conference. But the fact that Minnesota could go to the NCAA tournament out of this is a joke. It's sort of like the basketball thing, where some shitbag team from like the Sun Belt Conference wins it, gets in, gets destroyed by Kentucky in the first round. It happens every year. But I don't think that's going to be the case with this. I think whoever wins the Big Ten is going to go into the tournament. They could make some noise. They'll probably get in as like a 3 or 4 seed, maybe face off against a team like UMass Lowell, BC, or defending national champion Providence in the first round, give them some trouble. But I just don't like this. I think that the Big Ten never should have become a thing. I think that by ruining the, what was it called, the CCHA with like Ferris State, they had a pretty good conference, like Superior State, Ferris State, Michigan Tech. All those teams sort of forced to go on their own. The Big Ten kind of fucked them over. I mean, it was a money thing. All the Big Ten games get broadcast on either Fox Sports or ESPNU. So it was a smart move on their part, but fucked over the small schools. And now they're paying for it. Now they're making. Now, last year, Michigan only one team from the Big Ten went to the NCAA tournament. That was Michigan, and they lost in the first round. So looking forward, Big Ten could be in some trouble. They can't get recruits to go to their schools, even though there's no reason that should be happening. I mean, Michigan's still probably gonna turn out to be a top 10 team, maybe like a 2 or 3 seed in the tournament this upcoming season. Probably a 2 seed if they win their conference and do it in style. If Minnesota wins it, I mean, who the fuck knows? They could end up as a 4 seed, but we'll see what happens there. But right now, things are not looking good for the Big Ten, as half the conference isn't even above 500. That's bad. Speaking of not being above 500, I mean, let's talk about Arizona State. I mean, good for them. They are in the middle of building a program, so it's understandable that they're going to struggle for the first couple seasons. But struggling and going 5-21 are two very, very different things. So the only wins that Arizona State currently has is against club teams, an exhibition game against New Brunswick, team of Canadian College that usually comes down and plays against the big names and gets their asses kicked, but makes themselves some money every year. So right now, Arizona State's not looking too good. I was at both games this weekend up in Lowell, Massachusetts, where they took on UMass Lowell. Final on Friday night was 4-1. Final on Saturday night was 8-1. After the first period, the shot count was like 18-2. UMass Lowell on the Saturday night game. Somehow, some way, UMass Lowell outshot them 16-0 midway through the first period, and then the first shot that Arizona State took was a goal. So it was 16-1 shots, and it was 1-0 Arizona State. I mean, Lowell went on a roll, scored 8 in a row. Jacob Camrus had a hat trick. Kid's on fire right now. He's actually went from being a healthy scratch at the beginning of the year to being a second line center for the Riverhawks. So Arizona State, I mean, I understand that there's a lot of building to do, a lot of structuring for the program. They need to establish a recruiting base. They need to do a lot of things in order to build that program. But right now, they are just an absolute disaster. We'll see where it takes them. Right now, they're a non-conference team. I have a feeling they're probably going to try to join the WCHA because that would make the most sense. I mean, it would suck to have to fly out to North Dakota and Colorado every weekend, but it's a hell of a lot better than coming out to Massachusetts for a whole week and playing like 4 games, which is what the Sun Devils are currently doing. I think that they should just do everything they can to get into the WCHA. That way, they're taking 2-3 hour flights every weekend rather than a whole day's worth of travel. That's the only way that program is going to work. They're trying to expand college hockey out into the West, which I love. But right now, this Arizona State program needs to get themselves into a conference where they can compete to some degree and not have to travel across the country for every game. That's going to do it for this episode of the Daily Backskate Podcast. To all my college hockey brothers and sisters, thanks for listening. And as normal, if you didn't like it, go fuck yourself. Peace.